want. Since we're going to do this for the SF spriting stream, let's just quickly go over the settings on how to set up your stream key, and then how to set up a scene. So let's first go to settings here. Pardon this picture-in-picture in the background, it's just going into infinity. So we're going to go with settings first, and basically just sort of set up these things. Language, English, or whatever your preferred language is. Setting profile, whatever your name is. I can't edit this right now because I'm currently streaming, but if I could, basically it's just setting up what your name is and what accounts you're set up with, basically. Encoding, don't mess with this stuff if you don't know what you're doing, just sort of leave it as default. If you do want to mess with bitrate and buffer size, make sure that these two values are the same, otherwise we'll have issues. Mine are currently optimized to my computer because my computer's not that fast, and so if I want a decent frame rate without killing the CPU, this is basically what I want. So if you kind of want to use these settings, this is fine. I have 800 here, 800, MP3, 128, 44.1, and then stereo. Broadcast settings, okay, so this is where you want to put in all of your stream information. Your mode is going to be live stream because we're streaming. Our streaming service, if you're going to be using the Serena's Forest Sprite streaming channel, you have to use Twitch. Okay. Steam, please go away. Thank you. Our streaming service is Twitch. And FMS URL, I guess that's wherever you're closest to, because I'm in the central area, I have Dallas, Texas. I already have one inputted in here, but if you're going to do it, you just get the key from Errant Shepherd, who's currently running the account, and then paste it in here. These kind of things, you don't really need it. Basically, if you don't have a specific place you want to put this, it'll just give you like a default place to put your stuff, but this is necessary. So you just hit apply and move on. No, I'm not going to apply that. Video, normally I just go with your monitor size because that's like the base resolution anyway. Monitor, why it says 1 here is because this right here that I'm using is monitor 1. If I perhaps had like an additional TV or another monitor or a projector, those would be, say, 2 or 3 or 4, so you could use those. But for the time being, just use monitor, or you can use your custom size. My monitor is 1600 by 900, so it's the same thing. Resolution downscale just kind of like squashes your video down to another size, and it's not really something you necessarily want to use, but it will probably make your stream a little bit faster. I try to keep it to the base resolution size so you can upload it as an HD video when we do upload it to YouTube. FPS is 30 because we're not doing anything with a whole lot of action, we're just streaming sprites, so just keep it with 30. It says disable arrow here is strongly recommended for using monitor capture, and that's only because there's like a lot of stuff going on and the load on your computer would be like huge. But I'm not using arrow anyway, so I don't need to disable it. No, I don't want to apply. Audio, pretty simple. I just stick with default because that's usually okay. Unless you have like this fancy, complicated audio setup, just go with default. Default's always really safe. Stereo mix will just let you play music from your computer and that'll show up in the stream. And your external mic, if you don't have a built-in mic for like a laptop, you will need an external mic or a headset. Since I am using a laptop that does have a built-in mic that I hate because it is an awful quality piece of crap, I have an external mic, so that's why I have mine set to external mic. No, I don't want to apply. Hotkeys, if you like pushing a lot of buttons to make stuff go and stop or whatever, go ahead and set up these. There's one for starting, stopping, starting recording, blah blah blah, that stuff. I don't use them, so I'm gonna leave this alone. Advanced, usually for advanced settings, any kind of advanced settings, if you have no idea what you're doing, don't touch it. The only thing you definitely want to keep is this CPU preset right here, keep it to very fast. Quick sync encoder, leave it alone. Microphone noise gate, basically if if you do intend to use a mic, which I'm using right now, if you have a problem with your mic not being loud enough or being too loud, you can use these little sliders here to sort of adjust how loud you need them to be. Also, there is, let me exit out of this really quick, there are these little things over here. Why is my mouse not showing up? That's weird. Okay. So this thing right here, you can sort of change the slider on to give it how loud, like this can be really, really loud, or it can be really, really soft where you can barely hear me. This is your audio over here. Say if you have music playing in the background, if I could bring that up, that would be great, but I don't right now. But say if they're having trouble hearing you over your music, just turn your music down a little bit, and they can hear you. So yeah, last setting on here is the scene switcher. Scene switcher basically lets you like swap between, if you have multiple scenes going on, you can swap between them really quickly using like a hotkey, but since I don't use it, you're on your own for that one. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've covered settings, let's set up an actual scene. So first off, when you get the program, there's not going to be anything here. That's only going to be just scene and just a blank source window over here. I've already set one up ahead of time, but what we're going to do is, if you want to rename your scene, you can just go over here, go to rename, and let's say I'm going to rename my scene to test, because this is a test. I'm going to go over to the sources, and right-click the sources box to bring up an add, and then you can add a whole bunch of things. There's window capture, monitor capture, image slideshow, global source, which you'll have to set up somewhere else, text, video capture device, or game capture. Before I start, for global sources right here, you have to set up your global sources here. And that'll bring up like just other places where you can capture sources from. I have it set to Camtasia. I'm not sure why. I just did, but I don't use it, so anyway. Because we're going to be using an art program, we'll go with a window capture for now, and since I use Paint.net, let's just call it PDN, and it'll bring up this dialog box over here. Let me open up PDN real quick, which is right here. Yay, here it is. And then we're going to hit refresh to make sure it sees all of our stuff. Basically, this is just a drop-down list of all the things you have open. So I'm going to hit PDN, and if you want to capture the entire window, there's the entire window option, or there's just inner window, which it doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of difference that I've seen, but you know, I'd just go with inner window. Capture mouse cursor. Obviously you can choose to see your mouse cursor or not, which apparently mine is not showing up right now, so I guess I messed up somewhere. But you generally will want to keep capture mouse cursor on. Capture layered windows. Layered windows are like custom sort of, like if you have that setting where like windows in the background will be half transparent and your main window is like full opacity, that's what it means. Otherwise, it has nothing to do with like the fact that I have like 3 different windows open and they're all sort of layered over each other. That doesn't matter. If you don't want those additional windows to show up, you have to have Windows arrow enabled. And I don't, so I kind of have this obnoxious thing where all of my windows will like show up over each other in the middle of the stream, and it's annoying, but at least it saves me some CPU. Other than that, just hit OK, and then you've got, see, right here on the side over here, I've got this, you've seen, okay, so let me pop, okay, so as you can see in the background right now, I supposedly, if I close this out, I just have my Google one, and if I enabled PDN, I can bring PDN back up, and I can enable it, disable, like that. And so, yeah, you can have more than one scene going at a time. So if I close out Chrome, I only have my PDN one. If I close PDN, open Chrome, so and so. So, well, that's about it. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions,